Is this mic on? Okay. Can you guys hear me? Cool beans, here I come, I promise. I got a little bit of energy. All right, so I got this, and then we get out one more thing, and we'll get going, because I know the clock is ticking. You don't have to hold up signs, you can just hit me. You don't have to be subtle. Okay, so, good afternoon. I'm Steve Ritz. I am representing Green Bronx Machine. Thank you for having me. Patty, Robert, God, it was 48 ounces of meat, by the way. And LaDonna, I feel your story. I come from the South Bronx of America, and I'm here to tell you a little bit of story about if you bring your body, your brain will follow, because isn't that what it's all about? And I'm so thrilled to be here today in Vermont, because man, this is an amazing place. It's my first time. I love it. I'm having a great time. So I kind of believe in practicing these random acts of genius, and this is my classroom. Some of my students are upstairs. You're going to meet them soon. And the reality is, we're living in the age of Nintendo versus nature, and I don't even think anyone plays Nintendo anymore, right? So, I mean, it goes to show you how quickly we're dating ourselves. But I am a school teacher. Well, let me backstep a little and say, I'm not a farmer, really not. First and foremost, I'm a parent. I'm a teacher. I'm a public school administrator in and of the South Bronx. I've been doing this for 30 years, and this is what I see. I see kids are getting fatter. I see kids on a daily basis who are sicker. I'm looking at the Columbia University study that tells me that the proximity to fossil fuel really causes learning disabilities. And I just learned out of Montefiore that 70% of the kids that I see would not be labeled learning disabled had they had just simple, proper nutrition. So these things kind of keep me up at night. The reality of my community is shocking. It's appalling. And the most remarkable thing is we can change it probably like that. So, hey, I am talking to you guys right here. You are the leaders of tomorrow, and I'm going to ask everybody who's old like me to talk to all these young people and encourage them. And please, let's give them a round of applause for being here. This is what it's about. But these are still the realities I'm faced with every day, and kids should not have to grow up looking like this. And, you know, we talk about social justice, food justice, and environmental justice, when collectively we're all going to share these responsibilities as an inclusive 100%, I'll be happy. But until then, we've got some work to do, a little bit. So jobs are leaving this country. We know that. Energy is coming in at an appalling rate. It is any wonder that my beloved South Bronx is referred to as a desert, a food desert, a job desert. Yeah, I kind of stand alone, and wherever LaDonna is, I feel you, because I believe that children, parents, adults, and even veterans should not have to leave their community to live, learn, and earn a better one. So I'm going to tell you a story about this incredible edible wall that I found, because I'm not a farmer. And it starts with my very passionate Bronx Borough president who inspires me, hopefully as much as I will inspire you. It talks about the benefit of private industry and private partners. That's George Irwin from Green Living Technologies, who sponsored my classroom. Uh-oh, it's not working. But it all starts with kids in classrooms, with seeds, because I'm here to plant some seeds today. And this is where we come from, so, you know, let's just call it what it is. This is my backyard, this is their backyard. It's a tough place to live, unless, of course, you're a spare bullet or stray bullet. But I'm here to do a couple of things, talk about how we overcome barriers, motivate youth, forging shared standards, and most importantly, expand our reach, because my goal is that my reach will exceed my grasp, and I'm asking all of you guys right here and everybody to help them do that, because really, that's what this is about. So it starts with kids like this. Let me tell you about my kids. Every single student I touch is either a special needs learner, an English language learner, homeless, foster care, or an adjudicated youth. A lot of them come to me from, well, I'll put it in farming terms, plant-based rashes that I call handcuffs. They were just holding the wrong kind of green stuff. You know, whether it's nature or nurture, they may have had better advocacy, but that's the reality of my kids. This is the back of my classroom, and it all starts with seeds. So I'm always growing something. I don't know why, and I can tell you about it later, and there are probably therapists who I'll see. But we always are growing stuff in my classroom. And what I found is no matter what, the kids love taking care of plants, way better than animals. They're diligent. They love it. Lo and behold, I have 6 acres of farms now in the Bronx, and I am not a farmer. In fact, some of you may get upset. I don't really even like it. You know, I don't like the sun, I don't like the bugs, I don't like being outside. I certainly don't like the image of this formerly obese white guy walking around with a bunch of minority kids in the South Bronx. Doesn't look good saying farm, farm, farm. It wasn't the visual I liked. But I also work in a scanning school. Try managing this. As a teacher, some days you're the statue, some days you're the pigeon. I don't like pigeons and I don't like statues. And the coolest thing is I don't have to do any of this if I go indoors. So I wanted to take all of that, and put it indoors. So I decided to invite George Irwin to my class and talk about this mobile edible wall. How am I doing on time, by the way? Cool. All right, we just got started. So I wanted to partner that with some authentic learning experiences because so many of my kids don't graduate. We're not even going to talk about that. But I believe that in the era of No Child Left Behind, we can cure that with No Child Left Inside. So I'm out to cure attention deficit disorder with nature deficit disorder. I think it's a good match. So you partner these with authentic learning experiences. My kids started passing and growing school, and lo and behold, we had the first edible wall inside New York City, and we were just getting started. Kids liked the training so much that I decided, wow, this is kind of a nascent industry. You may have heard about this green roof and green wall thing. So we called up Green Living Technology, and we got trained, and we started partnering these kids up, and we took them to give them authentic learning experiences to build something that looks a little like this. That's 22 stories up in Boston, and you can meet my kids. Guys, was wave. They came to Boston. They'll tell you about their experience. I remember one of them calling me up because there was a bathrobe left in the room and saying, someone left their clothes here. No, guys, it's bad. What do we do with the chocolate? Brush your teeth in it. I mean, these are the kind of experiences that my kids need to have to move kids who are apart from everything, to make them a part of something, because I still aspire for this dream. And let me tell you something. Here in beautiful green Vermont, and again, LaDonna hit the nail on the head, it is so much easier to raise healthy children than it is to fix broken men. I don't care whether you're on the left or the right, or the left or the right, or the left or the right, or the left or the right. We can do this. And the bottom line is, it is about nurturing kids to health inclusively for 100% of America. So we took that technology and started putting it into schools. Then we started talking about building retrofitting and LED lighting, and it got kind of cool because these are my kids from the South Bronx of America earning living wage, and nothing feels as good as a paycheck. I mean, you know that as well as I do. And the greening of America, I believe, really starts with the pockets. It starts with the pockets, the minds, and the heart. And then we're going to really talk about some equality. But this is my harvest in a classroom. I think that's pretty cool. So what do you do with all that food? Well, I work in a scanning school. For those of you who don't know, you got to go in through a metal detector. So I can't even farm because I'm tired of getting arrested by the police when I'm walking to the subway with, like, tools, you know, because I'm a terrorist, if you haven't figured that out. But also, how do you get kids in and out of a classroom to garden in 40 minutes? Well, you can't. So when I started growing food in class, it was just the coolest thing to do because I never had a science lab in my life ever, even though I was a science teacher. Did this thing fall off my ear? Do I need it anyway? So anyway, there we are cooking with plastic, and we're having a lot of fun and doing add value sauce. So where does this food go? Well, it goes right down into the cafeteria where my kids start learning about this. And these are my teachers and my kids, and we're having a community moment. And that is the youngest nationally certified workforce in America. On the roof again with my Bronx Borough president on a beautiful green roof. But we were just getting started. So this picture is what I call from South Bronx to Southampton. And that's my kids, some of them included, the first time ever, some of them leaving New York City, putting in a green roof on a beautiful home in Long Island. And let me tell you something, when kids from the South Bronx can reconfigure and build an environment that looks like this for living wage, that's what I call a si se puede moment. So we liked it so much, we decided to move into the Hamptons. We got invited back. And there we are, we're putting a green roof on the gardener's house. We were out there, we learned to surf, we lived out there, it was a great experience. But when kids from the poorest congressional district in America, the most marginalized place in the world, can start doing work like this, it's an inclusive and inspirational vision for all of us. And I see these fields of green when I was driving up here just yesterday for like 10 hours. But I loved it, it was very, very peaceful. So these are my kids, and when they do work like that, and put on a roof like that, there you'll meet Najee. They plant this from soup to nuts. This is what I call the glory and bounty, the promise that is America, with sedum that looks like this. Now, you may be asking yourself, what the hell do these green walls and green roofs have to do, aside from the fact that I grow enough food in a classroom to feed 450 people year-round with no bugs? Kind of cool if you ask me, and no sun. But it's about a triple bottom line because the skills and vision involved here, not to mention combined sewage overflow and heat island mitigation issues, really changed the world. So there is, again, two of the other boys. And what are we doing? We're taking those skills and take it to build affordable housing in once formerly abandoned buildings in the South Bronx. Now, for those of you who live in buildings where there's a lot of hedge fund managers out of work, I know if I had an extra $1 million, I might want to invest it with them. But if I want my toilet fixed, it's a nightmare. Call a carpenter. Try it. He drives a much better car than I do. But this is the work that these boys are doing. And lo and behold, these are living wage skills. And when you take abandoned buildings in the middle of the South Bronx that were formerly desolate and hotbeds of crime, and turn, oh, let me go back a little. We're missing something, but that's okay. It happens. These are the kind of skills that really transform America. Here's a young man, the first in his family to open a bank account. There's another young man who's here today. How did it feel, Najee? It felt good, okay? Give him a round of applause. That's Najee. And again, oh, here it is. It's an abandoned building in the middle of South Bronx and turn it into something that looks like this with interiors that look like this. This is wholly aspirational. This is what we can do. So CNN thought it was cool. I thought it was cool too, so I had them come over, and they did a nice little special on our farmers market. Let me tell you about my local community farmers market in my classroom. In a school of 3,500, where we maybe get 50 parents on an open school night, I get 500 parents coming in. I make more money than a bake sale ever happened. We can put the bake sale to shame in ways that make dollars and so much sense. It's incredible. That's us in NBC. And again, when kids from the poorest congressional district in America can design and install a wall that's 30 feet long in the heart of New York City, that is the promise of America. It's a scholastic moment, if you ask. I went and spoke there to them, too. That's my borough president talking to my kids in his house, not the jailhouse or a courthouse. And that's kind of important because it involves good leadership. And I am so grateful to Ruben Diaz Jr. for all the support and love he has shown me and my kids. But it makes a difference. That's State Senator Gustavo Rivera. There's an initiative called The Bronx Can. Change attitudes now. Slowly but surely it works. I'll tell you about that 100 pounds from now. And there's our borough president in my classroom. But again, this is proof that the Bronx can change attitudes now, and we're poised, ready, willing, and able. We're here today to exploit our talent and diversity. And when the state senator gets on the scale to lose weight and says he's going to hold himself accountable, so can I. And let me tell you, I'm 100 pounds lighter today, so it feels good. Thank you. It was 48 ounces of meat daily. It was 48. Sick stuff. Really sick stuff. So this is one of my farmers markets in my class. That's Produce Pete from NBC. He couldn't believe what we're growing. That's Lorna Sass. We're pushing food into senior centers in ways that are epically proportional. Why? Because if you feed grandparents, there's a dearth of parents raising kids in my community. So this is a real triple bottom line impact. But we realized we were doing a lot of growing. We were growing for food justice, and the international community took note. And I think that's really cool. But I'm a triple bottom lines, but it's amazing to think that kids in the South Bronx could be celebrated internationally. But closer to home, these kids, those guys included, helped grow out, and that was Avis Richards from the Ground Up campaign, 100 gardens into schools, and they did it for free. And that, to me, is a real triple bottom line. And there's Najee, a great teacher. I got this concept of designing a strong and healthy New York. It made a lot of sense to me. I like that kind of stuff. And lo and behold, my classroom in the South Bronx of America won the citywide award of excellence. But really, these guys deserve it, not me, for the healthiest classroom in New York City, the greenest classroom in New York City. But let me tell you a little bit about my kids. You know them. They're from the poorest congressional district of America. When these kids come together to take their money that we grow and support kids around the world in struggling countries, we support an orphanage in DR, we sent money to Haiti. That, to me, is truly special. So we realized that there was something green for everybody. I'm in the green state, right? Green Bronx business, environment, blah, 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 blah. You could all read, but behold and behold, we are the Green Bronx machine, and we're coming to a city near you and a state, and we're thrilled to be here. But what does it really do? It teaches kids to revision their community in ways they've never imagined. So that communities that look like this, and this is a tough place to be, can be revisioned like this. And if you see me in a couple weeks, I'm going to bring another slideshow showing you the final project. So stay in touch, please. There it is. It's 160 degrees on those roofs. So even if you hate the community, imagine this. There it is. Okay, it's now 80 degrees with a 30-year tax abatement. I mean, that makes a whole lot of dollars and a whole lot of sense. And how does this start? Am I getting ahead? So let me tell you how it really starts for me as an educator. It starts in classroom. No more little Knicks, no more little Yankees. Yeah, they're fun, but it's corporate welfare. I want little strawberries. I want little cucumbers and little radishes. And these are my future farmers of America. And I get a little misty-eyed looking at this stuff because it touches my soul dearly, because you guys take this for granted. We had to pull up blacktop to do this, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. But these are my future farmers of America. And, you know, this is the work we're doing. And when they start young and tenacious like this, it's no wonder these are the fruits of our labor. It gets very exciting. In a neighborhood that was once burning, we're now raising teepees. Brook Park, you can look it up online, and Bissell Gardens, we're feeding hundreds of people locally without a food stamp or a fingerprint. And to me, that's really aspirational. And somewhere over the rainbow, my friends, is the South Bronx of America, and there it is. So when little Jose understands, I love his attention to detail, but when he understands carrots come from the ground, and, you know, and Emmanuel gets it too, and Omar and Henry says green is good, so do I, because most kids don't know where their vegetables come from. basically through a bulletproof window if they're lucky to get them. So it's really important to teach kids to nurture the earth. I always believe that if you teach kids if you expand their palates, you expand their vocabulary. Coolest thing is making it intergenerational, so the formerly larger white guy is out of the middle, making big Jose accountable to little Jose, and then half my work is done. So these are my kids. This is my classroom. That's our green arts and crafts. These are our green walls. I'll tell you a little bit more about it, but I want you to see the kids and love them and understand it. I will tell you this. It's really cool to see kids pollinating plants instead of each other. I'm a very protective parent, and you want to talk about public health? If I keep, the reality is, keeping girls in school and not pregnant really has such a value to them. That's Cinco de Mayo Day. And these are my kids. We're growing pumpkin patches on top of the Fortran. We're putting in koi ponds. If you're rich and affluent, please talk to me. I'd love to get to know you. We're growing corn in the middle of Fordham Road. These are children of the corn. We're looking at new technologies that are wholly inspirational and aspirational for all of us. I don't expect every kid to be a farmer. I don't even want to do it. But I do expect them to read about it, write about it, blog about it, offer outstanding customer service. And that's us coming to do our work. That's my classroom. That's what it looks like. It's remarkable. I'll show you a little bit more about that. So where does all the food go? 0 miles to plate, right down into the cafeteria. How cool is that? Because I can't even get fresh vegetables in my school or my community. Whatever we don't use, we deliver locally to soup kitchens and shelters because sadly, most of my kids now get 2 meals a day in soup kitchens and 1 free one in school. So when you flood your community with food like this, good things happen. Here we're stepping it up, and I'm here to tell you no Air Jordans were ever ruined on my farm. It's totally cool. No sneakers, no uniforms, no nothing. This is a very uniform-friendly thing. The basketball court can coexist with the tomato field, and that's going to be about 2,000 pounds of tomatoes. Those are my walls. Brownfield, battlefield, toxic waste field. In the Bronx, we're figuring out ways to grow food. It's kind of inspirational. It doesn't look as nice as up here, but I think there's a good marriage, and I want to collaborate with you guys and learn more because I liked his model, and I like this state. So I have kids who are growing lots of flowers. We take orders, we sell out. And again, if you want a computer, I tell kids you can grow one instead of steal one. It's a different kind of mindset. We're doing chickens in the middle of Park Avenue in Harlem, just so you know. But again, when you can take kids from diverse backgrounds like this and put them together in ways like this, it's truly inclusive. So let me tell you about these kids, from 40% attendance to 93% attendance, 100% graduating, most in college, all earning living wage. If that's not a si se puede moment, I don't know what is. Thank you. What do I got, 5? 2? Okay, we've got a happy family, happy people. I don't know what slide I'm up to. It doesn't make a difference. But behold the glory and bounty that is Bronx County. If we can do it there, you can do it anywhere. Oh, Mint, let's have a drink tonight, shall we? Everyone should take these guys out for drinks, please. I'm sure they'll like that. But this is what I want to talk about. There's a myth that communities of poverty don't want fresh food. Okay, wake up. They do. We sell out all the time, and this is food that we grow and we sell. Now, the wildest thing is, you know, the borough that gave birth to baggy pants and funky fresh beets is now home to organically grown red ones. That's kind of cool. So these are my green Power Rangers. You know, 25,000 pounds of vegetables later, what I'm really growing is students, graduates, citizens, and engaged citizens, very organically, I might add. So that's what it's about. And help us continue to go from this to this. We're doing it all over the city. I'm a literacy teacher, so read. Good. And this is what I'm here to do. Help New York, help America become America once again, because we are all Americans, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Dominicans, African Americans. There's not a can't. We are cans, and that's important to me. So, welcome to Vermont. I mean Harlem. I mean Vermont. It's a green state, right? But at the end of the day, in the celebration of today's court victory, I was predictive good. And that's what this is really all about. Let's look at 5 days in the life of seeds. I know I'm going to run out of time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's look at 5 days in the life of these young men you're going to meet. 1, leveling fields, putting it up. This is what we're doing. And if that's not aspirational and inspirational, I don't know what else is. This is every 28 days. We're growing so much food, we almost don't know what to do with it except make a lot of money with it. So I'm out vegetating. It's a good thing to know. Even on places you can't grow food, this is what we do in classrooms. This is the coolest model because right here, that's a 330-foot square foot classroom in an abandoned building. These beats came out of these panels yesterday. Guys, am I telling the truth? They picked it. And it was actually Jonathan who got so tired of carrying the panels. He said, Ritz, we have to put these things on wheels. I agreed. So this is what comes out of there. Each one of these panels gives me about 100 to 125 pounds of tomatoes a year. So when you want to talk about yields, you want to talk about soup and add sauce and add value and ghetto salsa, it's great. So I ask people, this is my classroom. So share your passion. I want you to share mine. Please take out your phone and like Green Brown's Machine on Facebook. I have this dream. I'm not on it. The kids run it, but my dream is that we connect kids around the world and around the country. And it's so cool that 3,000 kids are on this thing every day sharing good ideas instead of bad. So check out the Green Brown's Machine Facebook page. We have a TED Talk. That's me, and that was me 6 months ago. I lost a little weight. The Green Brown's Machine video highlights a 1-minute special on our farmers market. Urban farming was this video that the kids made in a weekend that got us invited to the White House. Kind of cool. So check those out. But please get the biggest bully in New York, in the world, out of public school. Good, who cares? And that's this. It's not principals. It's not big kids. It's not mean kids. It's junk food. So get that out of school. Please teach. I don't know if you have these here. We have a. You live here. Do you have this kind of bulletproof store in Vermont? I mean, listen, the whole thing is to teach kids that there's a better alternative than this. Model a healthy plate, especially if you're growing yourself. It's real important because a lot of kids don't know what this stuff looks like. Get them to a green card, but you have those. Teach kids entrepreneurial skills. It's so important. It's so critical to changing the dynamic of the way we interact. Cooking, culinary. Listen, we all need to eat together. It's a very forgiving kind of profession, particularly in New York City, the culinary capital of the world. So who cares if someone sold something that they shouldn't have been selling 5 years ago? It's time to give them a job where they can make a decent wage, and they love it. And most importantly, love them. You guys are really, it's a very loving crowd. I got to meet you. I fell in love with you. But we all need to love each other. You know, 40 years ago, Kermit said it's not easy being green. It's not, but it's a lot worse when you're morbidly obese. So I'm glad I lost 100 pounds to be here with you today because I was going downhill in a hurry. And it was really just incremental changes. You know, in this green movement, we are still a little tadpole. But I'm in a green state, so I encourage you all to be that big green frog and take a big green leap. No matter where you go, take time to smell the flowers, especially if you and your kids grew them. I'm Steve Ritz from Green Brown's Machine. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Thank you. Please meet the kids there. Oh, wherever the camera is. To my wife, I love you. Thank you. To my kids, thank you. Thank you all.